All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for
Hibike Euphonium, Season 3, Episode 8.
Oh, last
episode. Kuroe. Oh, man.
Oh, wow.
I mean, hey, you're sticking to your guns.
And we know a little bit more of who she is.
Right.
She was able to be a little bit vulnerable.
A little bit. Just in the showcasing to our girl how much she is not willing to change. How much it's like, yeah, you want to get to know me? Sorry, because I actually think that kind of sucks and I don't really like myself, and so sorry, that's how this is. That's not changing, but at least you know that that's the way I am.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
That's something.
Yeah. Yeah, that picture
it's something.
Totally just got deleted or something or what have you.
Or who knows? Maybe she just keeps it to herself. You
know?
Oh,
I meant, sorry. Yes, she's lying about it not developing properly.
Right.
She's absolutely just lying about that.
And so I want to know, because I want to be like, okay, what is actually the deal? But then also, won't cause any problems for the wind ensemble. Are you sure about that? Because, like, just because you won't have any problems yourself doesn't mean it won't have, like, cause problems with other people necessarily, and so...
Well, yeah, and I think because of the way that Kumiko cares so much about, doing her part to get involved in these situations and make sure we have a really good year for everybody, she might end up going to bat for Kuroe.
Sure.
And end up causing some things, by effect,
There could be some ripples.
There should be some ripples. Yeah, that's a good way to say it. But hey, a new step, a new phase of things, maybe some
new performance
more
on the
auditions
horizon
and stuff. So yeah, y'all. Without further ado, let's get into this. All right. That's a lot. Yeah, get good. Right. All the drama always happens at summer camp. Oh, yeah. Oh, it is? All right. Oh, lovely. Yep. This bus has no brakes. We are going... Oh, God. 3 whirlwind days.
Oh, my God.
Okay. Right.
But it's a very one-way street.
Right.
I love how the show presents things.
Yep. Hey, he's back!
Hey!
Ah! Okay. This is the same crew, yeah.
Oh.
The trio. Yep. Oh, trying to calm him down, yeah. Nice. Oh. Yep. Everyone stops.
Yeah.
It's just like, whoa. Just declaring it.
Yeah.
This is mine.
Domain expansion.
Okay. Always starts off well and...
Yeah.
Syncopation. It's a $5 word right there. Yeah, just montage
all day.
Of this.
3 days.
It's truly a camp. They got curry.
They must be so starving after just like wind instruments for a whole day.
Yeah. No. God, the detail.
Yeah, I know. Why do you need to ask me about that?
Right. Of course, it's being done at night too. Oh. Oh. Yeah. Oh. Oh no.
Okay. This tension is killing me.
God, there's so many little like shots just to establish where they're at.
Right,
mentally,
and the little
emotionally.
bits of character animation.
Yeah. Ugh. Because if I play the soli, then I'll stand out. Yeah.
Right. Don't think about what anyone else wants. It's so kind that you think Kumiko would be so polite. Yeah, yeah. It's just a done deal, huh? Yeah, open up. And if they don't, we'll teach them. That's our job as upperclassmen.
But the difference is that Kanade might be the equivalent here
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
yeah.
People did that in spite of the wishes of the person who is not getting the part.
Yeah. During camp too. Well, yeah. No, well, yeah, of course. I love the squat of secrecy in like the
Middle
well-lit open hallway,
right.
you know?
Okay.
Okay.
そういや滝先生、編成変えるつもりなのかな。
Probably a little bit.
だとしたら UFO かサックスかな。
Yeah.
人数減らす可能性があるのは。高坂はどう思う？
それは滝先生が決めることでしょう。
Dang.
私たちは滝先生の目指す演奏ができるように。
不大会の選考に疑問持ってる生徒がいたのは確かだからさ。
Oh, was there something interesting about the composition
聞い
then?
てたら演奏が成り立たない。
でも全く同じ実力だったら3年生優先してよって思っちゃうけどな。部長はどう思う？
レーナの言うことは正しい。理想だ。
大前先輩も納得してないってことですか？
Right, and you're also the leader.
レーナの言う通りだと思う。
That bit of tension in her voice.
誰かいる。
Oh. What
Hang
happened?
on. What?
禁止だよ。バレなきゃいいのですよ。悪い子。早く。ちょっと。
Motomo? Oh. Oh. Wait, what happened? Is it about the auditions or something?
What's
Maybe
going on?
it wasn't related to relationships or anything like that?
I don't know.
ちょっと眠れなくて。何かあったの？
What happened?
久美子ちゃんは知っていたんですよね。まとむくんのこと。いろいろ考えちゃって。改めて思いました。人にはいろんな気持ちがあるんだなって。まとむ
That's
くんに
sweet.
なんて言われたの？教えない。
Oh.
ちゃんといつも通りの緑になろうと思って。
私先戻ってるね。
うんうん。3人で一緒に戻ろう。
よかったらこれあげる。
Oh.
いいですか？レーナちゃんいずこって。最
Yes.
近思うようになった。
Oh, that's so
知
sweet.
らない方がいいことも。
Right.
Okay.
Right. Knowing when you need to respect people's boundaries, even if they're unhealthy ones.
Yeah.
God, this show's directed so well. Just establishing.
beautiful.
Oh, hi. Yeah.
そういえば私、
Mm-hmm.
最後なんだ。
Oh.
合宿。
You gonna play it too?
Oh, yeah. It's already playing in her heart, you know? No way. It's the exact same parallel.
And before the results.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
二人っていつの間にそんなに仲良くなったの？
朝個人練しようと思ったらスズメちゃんがいて。寝られました？今朝も早かったみたいですし。かなでちゃんは久美子ちゃんのことが心配なんだね。久美子先輩は放っておくとすぐ貧乏くじを。私はてっきり慈善活動が。
The eye twitch.
Yeah.
もうこんな時間か。
Oh, dodged the question and everything.
Yeah.
お気をつけて。みんな一緒に吹けるといいね。コンクールで。本心で言ってます。
Dang.
もちろん。どうして？不問でした。黒江先輩には。
Never mind. That was a strange question to
Yeah,
ask.
yeah, yeah. Who do you think the real enemy is?
Yeah.
結果発表を行います。
Yeah.
大会ごとに
Yeah,
メン
she's
バー
out.
を変えるのはこれが最良だったと思えるようにしたいと考えています。
And Reina having to grapple with the decision from her.
3年、遠坂玲奈さん、
Right.
はい。
小日向ゆめさん、
はいはい。滝先生がメンバーの名前を自らの口で発
Whoa.
表する。
Reminding
Oh.
everybody this was my decision.
Yeah.
覚え。
そんなことを思う間にも。
続いて、ユーフォニアム、
Oh, he even flinched a little there.
大前久美子さん、
Okay.
Whoa.
3年、黒江真由さん、
Yeah.
以上2名です。
That's it. Only
続
two.
いて中盤、
Dang.
加藤葉月さん、鈴木美玲さん、
はい。
2年、鈴木さつきさん、
Oh.
1年、以上4名です。では続いて、ソロメンバーを発
Everyone kind
Okay.
of perked up a little bit there.
クラリネット3年、高久千恵里さん3年、川島サファイアさん、
Okay. Okay.
鎌谷燕さん、
Okay.
Yeah.
Good
ト
job.
ランペット3年、ユーフォニアム
Yep. He did it last.
3
Yep.
年、黒江真由さん、
Yep. Yep. There it is. Yeah.
はい。
Awesome.
Yep. And it's going to be everybody else getting upset on your behalf.
そして
The next piece
The next
begins.
piece begins. Yep.
次の曲が始まる
All right, let's go. Let's go.
Oh, butterfly caught in the web. Fun.
Yeah.
It's amazing how a show that has like a sports drama feel to it can build such dread.
Yeah.
And not because you're not sure if it's going to happen, but it's because you're certain it's going to happen. It's just an inevitability of when. Mm-hmm. You know.
And being in tune with the characters' feelings as it's happening, so you can feel the dread
you feel
and the
it with
tension
no
and
dialogue, nothing.
Yeah,
You just-
exactly.
Oh. Wow.
Also, I loved the bit with Sapphire, and like the whole like, no, I'm not going to tell you what we talked about. You know?
Right. Yeah.
Oh, this was fun.
This was very spicy. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we were both thinking the same word. Like I
Kanade
love
being cut. Just that feels like the perfect little twist. Is that clearly, Kumiko's still in,
right.
but she's not doing the soli, which
not
is
doing the soli.
what was expected. But Kanade being cut,
Yeah.
that's fun because she's not one I would say that would immediately be looked at as a lesser player. So it might just be that they're shifting up the composition for the purpose of getting certain sounds to be, you know, more.
Well, it's the thing
clear,
of
what have you,
it's the
but-
thing of she's really good, but they're going for gold at nationals, right? And
Right.
so they need to make sure that they win this competition and all that stuff so that they go on.
Right.
And so I love it. Like and it's been set up that she's been very like, you know, doing those little things where we can tell that that's on her mind. Right.
Yeah, she's
know?
at the very least very protective of Kumiko. You know, she has
Yeah.
a lot of respect and care for her in her own, you know, unique way. But
Yep.
she also is not very much a fan of Kuroe's just presence at all,
Right.
really being here.
Yep.
Because it would have been the two of them going all the way. And it's not that Kumiko is feeling bad as much because, you know, it's just the soli being taken away at this point, but it's someone else's spot that she didn't really expect to have them being cut here.
No.
And I really like that. Who's our boy? Our boy, basically of the main three. He was basically like, oh, it's probably going to be saxophone or youth that gets cut, and he could kind of tell based on some things that happen in the previous competition. And I like that means that that Taki's decision here was a very logical one. It was one that even those that with not as much experience as him could kind of understand why.
Yeah, which I like because it
'Cause
feels
I don't know why specifically, and that
Right.
it would take a lot of effort for them to explain to someone who's not a music major or what have
Exactly.
you to know why.
It's the whole, you know, show rather than tell thing. And so in the first season, right, we have the whole thing of, all right, we're going to have the two trumpet players play back to back.
Yep.
And you'll be able to tell, right? You know, good music speaks for itself. And so that continues here to the point where, yes, even the people that are not Taki, right? But particularly if they're not involved in the situation, right?
They're not a part of that bass section.
Yeah,
or anything
exactly.
at all. Yeah.
Those people are able to look inside and see, yeah, that's the weakest member, right? That's the person who doesn't quite.
Well, again,
play
I
the same
don't think
level.
it's the weakest member either. That's the part that I think is actually really fun here. That this is a composition decision, meaning that they're wanting certain groups to be more prominent or less prominent, not because they're the weakest member of the whole group, but they're the weakest member of that section, which means you could have less experienced players in more important sections for this song, but not
absolutely.
necessarily be more experienced as a player overall. So
Sure.
it can feel extra stingingly painful for Kanade, who gets to watch other people that are maybe first or second years that aren't as good as her.
But
in
they're in a
general,
different instrument
But they're in a
where
different
they're
instrument where
needed.
they need to be there.
Yeah.
And thus it's that whole thing of where when you bring a new person within an instrument where there's already stiff competition, you are effectively saying, Oh, do you remember the fourth Euphonium player, Jacob? There was the fourth.
Yeah.
They're just not even in the conversation.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Because there's never going to be 4.
Right.
So she was potentially in the conversation, which might have made her get cut even earlier and have the composition be focused on having 2 Euphonium players.
Right. She's already, come to grips with the fact that she's in the new, like, Team Monica, basically, for this year. And it's hey, that's fine.
Yep.
Your first year. Keep practicing.
Right.
Next year,
yeah.
Next year's your year,
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's a fun thing where we didn't have what I expected to happen was that we could have almost ended up in a situation where Kumiko got cut entirely because of how focused she's been on the president's side of things.
Right.
That Kanade has to take her spot effectively.
Yeah, and they didn't do that, which makes sense.
And they didn't do that.
Because Kumiko is still really good. She has been working
She is
really
practicing
hard and all
really
that
hard.
stuff. Yeah. So
And she's making it work. But I like that they brought the point that even Kanade's like, hey, are you doing good? Like, you were up late, like
right, and
you're also
and
up
Reina
early.
mentioning the thing of like, oh, Taki Sensei's been like calling
giving you warnings,
correcting you, more frequently recently. So, yeah, it's
the kind of thing where it could just now be the Soli Kumiko, but there's other competitions after this. In fact, there's at least one.
Right, and so that's
and
where
that's the like, hey, you might not even be in the final group if this trend keeps continuing.
Well, but at the same time, you can still do the Soli with Reina at Nationals, right? Because this is not the actual.
This is not the Nationals competition.
This is not the Nationals competition, right? No. So, while it's scary and it hurts and it sucks and all of that, we're not actually losing out on the thing that has been written into the stars, by Reina's will.
Right, but this is also the difference of this is a more resolved Kuroe as well.
Yes.
Kuroe realizing that she's been holding out on all of y'all all this time, and that she did mean, Kumiko, she did mean that if she actually tried, there wouldn't be a contest. She would take the Soli. I liked that was... The fact that Kumiko reacted so strongly to that in kind of a proud way of like, you condescend to me to say that,
right.
like,
it goes to show that she's not actually focusing on the Soli as much as she could be.
No.
Because she doesn't realize how she can't do both, being the club president and be a youth player to perfect 100%.
No, you're sacrificing either in a little way that's noticeable, especially if you're thinking about going to nationals.
Yep.
And so I'm very excited for the natural drama that will spill out of this. I also noticed some potential stuff within the way that Sapphire or Midori was selected for the solo for the bass or contrabass.
Yep.
That might have been what Motomu
What they
was
were talking
bringing
about,
up.
yeah.
Was that he might have potentially maybe been like, I want to give this to you or something, and that made her maybe upset or something like that of like,
Oh, sure, yeah. It could have been any number of things, and so like it could have been any number of things. We are specifically being given multiple things that it could have been.
Yeah.
Which then makes it so that, her decision to not say what they talked about that much more impactful for us, the audience, because then we're in a similar situation to the characters where it's I think they would have been talking about this, but not necessarily. Right?
I want to throw out the idea here that he wasn't talking about relationship stuff, and it was specifically about the audition.
When he's talked about her in the past, it has definitely been in that kind of like, I very much admire her, and oftentimes within the context of music.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if, I feel like that's the most likely, but also...
Because she's a third year now, and he's not. And it could have been one of those situations where it's the like...
I'll have next year.
You can have this one.
But at the same time...
I don't know. And that's the thing, he might have just been apologizing of like, hey, I didn't do optimally on the audition.
Sure.
And I feel bad about it, but I had to tell you.
Yeah. I felt bad because I come from a family where it's like, it's, sort of silver spoon when it comes to music, right? So
right.
It didn't feel fair that, Like,
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. Who knows?
Who knows? I'm just excited for the drama to not be entirely solely. I was waiting to use that word. Solely centered around
The
Kuroe
Soli.
and Kumiko and the Soli. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, I guess I have
I'm
to give
good
that
at
one
this.
to you. Yeah. But
So, this Taki did also give the results himself. I love that
yes.
detail from like a past tense Kumiko
Right.
thinking back on it.
past tense Kumiko thinking back, we did get to see the little bits like you like noticed and mentioned of Taki like being that little bit like having that little bit of like shifting, you know, at
Right.
the different parts because he is also aware of the effect this has.
Yes.
And right, like him reading the results is a move to help make sure that they can get gold at nationals because
Right.
they have to stay a unit, right? And so he knows where the points of conflict are. He's not going to sacrifice the performance for the sake of those, but he's still going to have that bit of like nervousness of like, okay, you know, I hope this goes well.
Yeah, I just remembered something. Didn't he also do the youths in the previous announcement? No, because it was a different person giving the announcement. I think the youths were given first in the previous auditions announcements. Like the youth was like way earlier. So the idea that he might have subconsciously been avoiding, like not wanting to do that, so he ended up doing the youths last.
Oh, I like it.
Felt interesting. I'll have to go back and check, but I think because it's a different person, it doesn't mean anything necessarily.
Sure.
But I do
Yeah, you'd think
that,
they would all like have the order of like
I think the order would always be the same. It wouldn't,
Right.
It wouldn't matter because the only one that I would say being like consistently first might be Trumpets because of
It's just
Reina just from a meta standpoint being the
Sure.
strongest player overall. So
or
it's-
just the fact that like trumpets are like one of the biggest instruments for the the
right,
ensemble
maybe
as a
some of the
whole.
most like
like one of the most
loud
common or
or
you know fundamental like we need to have this one be really good or something like that.
sure.
But-
I know that trumpets are notoriously hard to to play. Comparatively, just in general,
Right.
they're all pretty tough to play properly. But
Yeah.
I'll have to go back and check. But I seem to remember that in that previous episode, the youths were revealed early, and it felt almost like on a meta level. It's like, oh, cool. We're just breezing past this. There's no drama here. So this one, where I was like, oh, they haven't said the youths yet. Oh, it's definitely being built up for the drama.
Right. Yeah.
Which kind of pulled me out of the immersion there. But then I was like, wait, no. What if this is a character thing and it's Taki
Right.
being like,
Either
here, I'll leave you all with that.
potentially being like I'm going to leave that for the end so that way people aren't causing a ruckus during like the other announcements of things.
Everyone will shut up, basically.
And or maybe it's something where that was the last one he decided, you know, where he's like he's going through all of them, and then at the end he's like, so the youths, the two youths,
Sorry, what?
two youths,
What is a ute?
but like you know it's fun. I love how this show basically is able to take just these tiny little bits of thoughts and feelings and conflicts that don't become loud and out there, right? And still communicate with such depth and nuance about them.
Yeah.
Like the bits of character animation from Kuroe when her and Kumiko were talking
In the
by the
bathroom.
bathroom.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. It's like we don't even need them to talk hardly.
I also want to just gush about that scene just from a way it's not framed, but the way in which it's actually like set in the bathroom.
yeah,
This is the place right before you go to get naked.
right.
This is the place right before you
yeah.
have the place where you're the most vulnerable. and you
Kumiko
display everything.
was naked. Kuroe has not been.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Right. But then also the thing of like, oh, this is where we would basically change to get ready and everything and stuff. But no, we're not doing that here. No, you can save that for in there. But then also the idea that they're not looking at each other directly for a good portion of the conversation. But then there's a mirror for Kumiko specifically to keep not looking at her. But then the second she actually turns around, it's when she leaps out almost aggressively in like a defensive, like, oh, you think that it's just, if you would actually try
Right.
that, I wouldn't have a chance. It would just be thrown away like that.
Yep.
And then she does the, like, holding the, the stress hold of the
arm.
elbow and the arm to be like,
Yeah.
no, that's not what I mean. It's not what I mean when she's basically doing the, like, I'm scared. I can't people please my way through this.
Right. Like
I'm ending up saying things
Yeah.
honestly in a way that people don't like,
Yep.
and I don't.
And I wanna put this out here that Kuroe, this was actually there was a lot of character development for Kuroe in this episode, and I'm not just talking about the fact that she ended up deciding to, like
give it her
all for the Soli, right? Because theoretically that could be people pleasing as well.
Well,
right?
it also could be something where she had started a while ago, but she's needed to kind of ramp up to this point.
Exactly. But like with her conversation with Kumiko in the cafeteria and stuff, where it's like I can't remember the exact words of what she said, but basically there are things that she's doing where she's basically approaching Kumiko, where even after the previous episode where she's like, hey, I'm going to keep you at a distance.
Right.
And that's intentional and that's not going to change. And I'm telling you just so that you'll stop bugging me, basically. She then ends up throughout this episode basically making all of these little efforts to approach her, even to the point of then asking her, do you want to play the Soli in the bathroom, right? Or that whole conversation.
Too.
Right. That's something where she does not have to do that if she wants to be someone who is withdrawn and doesn't show, her own desires or things like that. She just doesn't bring it up and forfeits or, doesn't play as well or whatever, right? Like, she has a ton of different outs here. Non-participation is something that you cannot be forced out of, right? Like, it's always your decision. And so the fact that she's doing all of these things is showcasing basically that, yeah, this is something that I want. I'm not going to be at the level of open, honest communication where I'm like, I'm going to speak plainly, but I am still going to be inquiring, right?
Right.
And that's, I want to say that I think that's awesome because that's something where you, Kumiko, have basically, through your actions, right, have developed the trust with her to where she's actually willing to do this, which is then, of course, I'm guessing why she clams up and gets like, especially nervous when Kumiko blows up about hey, you think you'll win just because, like you try, you think it won't matter, right? You think you'll beat me so easily.
Yeah.
But
I also want to bring up here that her tick of grabbing her arm specifically, while it is primarily a thing of like it's a defensive posture, it's a protective posture. Another interpretation is that it's also a setup for lying. Both of the lines that she basically gives regarding this bit here is about how she's not that eager to play the Soli. She just wants to play with everybody.
Oh.
But then when she gets upset with the way that she believes Kumiko is being dishonest, thus she's now telling the truth, she lets go of that and throws her arms back in the I'm now
upset. Yeah.
I'm now upset, but also
asserting
as you can
myself?
see, not asserting himself. I'm being honest. I'm not holding anything back. My chest is forward. My body language is showing that I'm being honest here. But then when Kumiko fires back, she immediately shifts back into the defensive posture. That's not what I meant. Meaning that she's lying again, but it's for the purpose of pleasing other people. This is showing the way in which Kumiko has also been lying about not being okay with about being okay with this, the way in which Kuroe is someone that Kumiko recognizes as being her old self from the first year, but also revealing that Kumiko hasn't fully, resolved that issue within herself from all the way back then. She's just been able to adapt through this, through friendship, through just the connections and the actual experience of all this. But this is both of their dysfunctions coming out to meet each other because they're both starting to actually be honest fully. And that's beautiful because then they could form an actual connection through this pain and struggle.
Because what we have here is a failure to communicate, right? Not just from Kuroe, but from Kumiko as well. Because Kuroe is worried about what other people will think, right? Understandably so.
Most people are in some measure.
Specifically in the way in which it will go beyond what would be not expected, but like beyond the way of what necessarily makes sense, right?
Or also just the way in which people can just get hurt,
Sure.
tangentially.
Right. And so all of these times that she's checking in with Kumiko, she's also kind of saying basically that I don't fully trust even you, right? Like, I feel like you might just be saying this to be nice, right? But you do, I know you want this, right? And that's why it took until this point where she actually starts to ask genuinely, as opposed to the times before, where she kind of assumes, and then if Kumiko says something, she's like, yeah, that's the polite thing.
Right.
I got you. I got you.
I see you.
You know, I see you. And Kumiko's trying to be like, no,
I'm
really,
genuinely serious here.
But the thing is that there is an element of that where it is Kumiko dismissing Kuroe's feelings and concerns because she's not addressing the fact that, yes, there will be a part of me that is upset if that happens, right?
I do want to play the Soli with Reina.
Yeah, I will be pissed if you beat me.
But that's just reality. That's
right.
life.
That's feelings. My decision is still that I want you to do this.
Right.
Will it be something where I might feel conflicted about it? Absolutely. And that's where that is something that would be helpful for them to talk about. And they kind of do talk about it a bit here in the bathroom, even though it's also a confrontation.
Yeah,
right?
it's something that comes about as a part of growing up.
Sure.
Is that you do things that you don't want to do. Or you have to live with things happening that you don't want to have happen. There's something so wonderful about this being Kumiko's like final year of high school and her coming of age into adulthood and stuff, in that she's gonna have, probably realistically, one of her last things in the wind ensemble be tinged with all this pain and all this struggle.
Yep.
Because life is painful sometimes. Life has struggle, and you can't just, will your way through things. There's going to be things where other people's dreams, other people's desires come in, and you got to live with that.
Right.
And so the idea that Kuroe has this perspective where if anyone gets hurt or has any kind of feelings disrupted in any way based on my existence or what have you, I just shouldn't exist. I did
something wrong. Yeah.
I did something wrong. Yeah. That is a very, very childish way of looking at things.
Right.
Because it's the same reason why a baby cries when something doesn't go their way, is basically being like, the world is wrong right now because I'm not getting what I need.
want.
Now, that's a very basic survival thing, but we're beyond that at this point here. This isn't about you surviving, Kuroe. You'll live through this. You'll be okay.
The fact
Kumiko will live through this, and she'll be okay. But yes, it will hurt. It will not be. It will not be a happy thing to see you potentially playing the Soli with Reina at Nationals.
Yeah.
Like, that would break Kumiko's heart. It would break Reina's heart. But if they want to go to Nationals and win gold, that might be what it takes.
And so it's something where, I love the feelings with this. And Kuroe being in a situation where she's able to be in the place that Kumiko used to be, right? That's because she's so good at it that she's been able to have, like, not been forced to change, right?
Yeah, she's had a lot of practice.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Whereas with Kumiko, season 1, right?
We
quickly.
We slapped that up to the forefront of everything.
Right, exactly. And then suddenly it's like, oh shit, I have to deal with this, right? And then we get that wonderful running sequence.
Yeah.
Kuroe's been able to get by without doing that, right? And old habits die hard, right? Like, when a fear lurks in the shadowy closet, right? It kind of gets pretty big,
It's true.
And so now it's like, oh, you open it up and you're like,
And maybe she switched schools because things were not going the way that she would like.
I would not doubt in the slightest if she changed schools as a people-pleasing thing. Where it's like, oh, people don't necessarily like that I'm here. Okay, I'll just go somewhere else.
Yeah, I saw you, Kumiko, and everybody performing. I just really wanted to be a part of your music school, and I really liked the way that you guys did things.
Which she probably did.
And she did, and yet I love that Kuroe could smell someone like her out so quickly. And
probably
could
from
tell
very far away.
From very far away, and was also like, oh, wait. So there's the possibility that, one, I could find a real friend.
Sure.
But two, also, I think you'd understand where I'm coming from
I'll be
more
able to
than
blend
anybody
in,
else.
maybe.
Well, not just to be able to blend in, but I don't know what the right verb is here, but
because I feel like
you'll accept me.
Okay.
You'll accept the me that I don't like.
Okay.
And I don't know, but I want this drama to force that to the surface.
Yeah.
I want that to be the thing that we win out of this season here, because we might not have nationals this season. This drama might slow the pacing down to the point where we get into those nitty-gritty conversations and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
And thus the performance and her playing the soli with Reina, and maybe Reina and Kumiko afterwards just crying about it because it's like that.
Oh yeah,
They did so well maybe or something that it's like, Kumiko, I don't think you're gonna catch up. I liked also the point of detail that Reina was like, you don't get it, Kumiko. She figured out exactly what sound Taki likes to hear. In very much character, she
is people
mimicked.
pleasing.
She people pleased Taki into actually giving her the soul, giving her the soli, because that's also in a lot of ways what she would need to do to win a competition. Is you don't need to
play to the judges.
Yeah, you don't need to play your style. You need to play the style that's going to win.
Right.
You just and I love that detail that it was the X factor of that. Not necessarily saying that Kumiko's less good of a youth player, even though she might actually be just not as good as Kuroe. That's very possible.
Well, there's a lot of there are people that think that actually competitions for stuff like for artistic things are actually inherently kind of pointless, because then it shifts things from making something beautiful to making something that will,
Technically sound.
do well in this particular criteria, right?
Right.
So then
that's got to be part of it.
Right.
Like you can't have mistakes.
No.
Someone's thing and be like, they did it perfectly.
No, totally. No, I'm not talking about that. But like, well, unless maybe you got into some other weird cases, but like in something like this, right? A person's preference for music, right, is going to be dictating largely, who will get gold probably, right?
No. See, that's the part where I get where you're coming from here, but I think there's a little bit more nuance to that. Is because they're playing music that's already been like a thing for like years and years.
No, right.
So they're trying to basically do their best at recreating and like emulating like performance to this piece of art that already is its thing. So it doesn't need to be an artistic expression thing.
Well, no, but I'm talking about with the like, when you're getting into the like, all right, we're in the 99.8%, kind of stuff for when we're talking about gold at nationals, right? And
You're right. But
and then once you're looking within that, you blow up that 0.2%, to be your whole metric, right?
Right.
Like that's, I feel like that would be much less about like technical capability and more about like preferences of judges at that point.
I disagree, because we're talking about a level of performance that is not something we've ever been in the field of specifically. When it gets down to that, it's these judges are specifically experts in their field, and they live in that final 0.5%.
Right.
So they really can see the difference. And you're right in that sometimes it is so judge swingy favored, and that it's like, there's only 3 judges, and it's just
or even if there's like 7 or something,
or what have you. But there's so much that can happen in that that final thing there. Like we're not talking about like you're right in that we're not talking about like a running race where it's just they were 0.02 of a second faster.
Right, exactly. It's the like the
but it
the
is
idea
measurable,
of
probably.
But the idea of like a what was it, a thick bass, right, like with talking about like how many tubas they want and stuff like that. That's something that is not a question of accuracy or anything like that, right? That's a what kind of sound are you wanting to make, right?
Right.
As you perform the same piece as everybody else. Or not necessarily the same piece as everybody else.
No, I 100% agree, but I think that also changes based on the song, and that's the part that the show is not really getting into. But because they're playing different songs, they are playing the same song,
right? But
every time
they're playing the same song every time, but they're not going to be playing the same song as everybody else, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Each one will have their own different song choice, and
Right.
so
they're more iterating off of a previous performance, and Taki probably brought the three youths
Right.
all to that previous one so that he could evaluate them in not just a vacuum but in the ensemble performance there.
Right.
And then he was like, okay, cool, so I'm clearly cutting Kanade for the next performance here.
Sure, but that's the kind of thing that I'm trying to get at, and I could totally be wrong about this because I'm not a music professional or anything, right? But with regards to the different, like the more differences from like a running race where it's like this is just a linear thing and all that.
Yeah.
I could see that coming into play. But speaking of Taki's perspectives on things and whatnot, and maybe people that hold his opinion in very high regard, Reina gave up the juice. She gave up the juice. She was holding on to that, and then she actually gave that up. And now she has a thing where, oh, hey, Taki made a decision she might not be a fan of.
Yep.
What's going to happen there?
Yeah, it's fun. But all right, y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the doobly-doo up here. Check out our full-length timer reactions there as well, and any level support gets you access to our Discord, where you can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general, and also be sure to check out our Twitch channel. See if any of that interests you. We'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.